Hi, welcome to this video. This is the introduction to merchant resources. The term merchant resource appears to be mainly used in the 3D hobbyist realm of Poser and Daz 3D. But a merchant resource, for our purposes, is a 3D graphical asset that can be redistributed royalty-free if altered in a significant way. So in other words, it's a starting point for one of your projects. So in our case, we're going to focus on textures specifically. And so if you want to make a character that looks like this, okay, and so we start off with a photo reference like this. Now you see, we're only gonna just say we only have this one photograph or a very small set of photographs, and there's only so much detail that we can extract from these photos, and yet we want to texture the whole body. We want to have the inner mouth, the ears, and all these little nitpicky parts. We want to have all textured, but we don't have that many photographs or that much time to do it all, because why would you want to do all that stuff if you don't have to? So what we do is we get a merchant resource set which closely matches it. And so in this case, for the head texture, we might have a texture which already looks like this, right? And in this case, we're also lucky enough that this this texture does match up. It was designed for this model that we're going to be working with. This is a Victoria 4 by Daz, but we're going to show in another video how you can apply a texture like this to an object which wasn't designed to have this, which has different UV mapping. Takes a little bit more work, but in principle you can get these merchant resources and use them on just about any character. So that's going to be a topic of another of one of the later videos, but the first one we're just going to show you how to do this two-step process. But before we get into that, which is the next video, we're going to show you a few of these different merchant resources that we found. Now here is one that we found at Runtime DNA, and this is the one that we are going to use for the first video. And this is called AA V4 Texture Resource Red. Okay, so it's deliberately no personality there, just a nice generic term to say, hey, this is a resource for a red-headed character. Use this as your starting point. All right, and so you can purchase this texture set, and here I'll just show you the files that you get with it, just in case you've never done this sort of thing before. So here you can notice there's head textures, there's bump maps, there's one with hair, one with not, there's the inner mouth area we talked about, the torso, with all the little parts, eyelashes, and so on and so forth. So we use that as our starting foundation. We paint on top of it, make the character unique to the point where we're satisfied with it, and then we don't worry about the other details because they're already there. All right, so yeah, and so yes, that is that one character. And let's take a look at another. Here's one called Mickey 3, and she's an Asian character. So again, if you wanted a character if your photo reference was to look something like this, this would be your starting point. You choose your package just based on how close it is to your final product that you want to have. All right, and so here is a case of it's an eye package as well. This is called RM Real Eyes V4 Resource that's found at Runtime DNA. And again, so if you don't want to paint all these eyes yourself, all the little detail, you can get a kit like this, and you can pull out the eye design that you like, and you can even modify the color and the tone of the iris and so on and so forth to make it a little more distinctive. And we're going to show you in another video how to do that directly in realityPaint as well. So let's go over here, and this for this resource, this is for it's for Daz 3D's Michael 5, and it is it's just a nice generic starting point for a man. But the interesting thing about this is he has this stubble, this 3-day-old beard. And now what we're going to do is show you is that how to take this stubble from this resource and apply it to another texture which isn't even this Michael 5 by Daz. We're going to apply it to a completely different model and texture, but we want to have the stubble. So if you have a character and it's almost right, but you're like, hey, he needs stubble, where do I find stubble, right? Then this is one case where you get it, where you have all this stubble which is nice and laid out. We're going to show you how to transfer this texture from one to the other, right? And so And also here is one more resource. So again, this would be a good starting point if your character was to look something like this. So anyway, that's the basic sort of rundown of what it is. So I will just reiterate the key points here. A merchant resource is a texture set like this, all right, where you get something like this. You can put it onto your model, where if you modify it, all right, you're allowed to redistribute it. It becomes your own. That's a part of the license. That's what you're paying for when you purchase them, and it's a great way to start your projects, especially if you're a beginner, where you don't want to get discouraged by having to spend weeks and weeks of doing all this little detail and inside the ears and in the mouth and this and that, and and then at the end of the day, maybe it's your first project, maybe it didn't turn out so good anyway, and you might feel a little demoralized. This way, start out all that hard stuff, just get a resource, paint on top of it, do the sort of the flashier detail like the face and so on and so forth, and then work your way from there. At some point, you might decide that you want to explore how to do the rest of the model yourself as well, texture the whole thing, if that's what you want, or maybe you'll just learn how to take the different resources and mix and match them to get more complex effects. So anyway, that is going to be the topic of the next several videos. And so the first video is going to be how to show you how to make a character like this. So stay tuned for the next video.